And if you think this guy's weird, you haven't seen anything yet. The last piece of gear is going to blow your mind. Today, I'm diving into the wild and wacky world of cottage backpacking gear. We're going to go through the most unhinged things that I've tested. Cottage gear is a really cool part of the backpacking gear market that looks at small companies doing big things and solving key problems for backpackers. And one of the things that I tested out is this Adotec Grizzly Bear Locker. Now, this is a bear bag like an sack, except it weighs only 7 ounces, which is really compelling, especially given it has an actual grizzly resistant certification on it. So it's a little bit small. The 14-liter version is the only one that has a grizzly certification. And this is so much lighter than an sack. I figured, why not give it a try? I would rate it overall probably an 8 out of 10. Obviously, a bear can versus a bear sack is a totally separate discussion. And the only reason I'm giving it a few knocks is because it is a little small. I'm finding it pretty tough to fit a week's worth of food in here. And it is a little stiff when you first use it. But once it's broken in, it works pretty well. You just tie it up like this. And they have a special knot you do, and you wrap it around a tree with another special knot. By special, I mean not that hard. The next piece of cottage gear that I have is my culo clean. So this pops right off. And this is a backcountry bidet. Now, I use a bidet in everyday life. In fact, I know you've been dying to know, all of the toilets in my home have them. So this is a game-changing backpacking choice for me. I've used this for actually a couple years now, and I do like it, but I don't love it. Here's the deal. First of all, it needs to have a separate water bottle attached to it because you don't want to commingle your butt water with your drinking water. So that in itself means it's a little bit more weight than advertised, but I really like it, especially if you get your period while you backpack. It is an absolute game changer to just be able to clean yourself down there every night, and you can clean out and rinse your cup or your disc with this, making it a really easy add for your period kit. As an actual cleaner, it works okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It doesn't have the kind of pressure that's really going to get in there and clean. So you still need to pack toilet paper with this, unfortunately. However, it's really reasonably priced, and overall, I would buy it again simply for the period part. This little guy right here is an Alpenblow. It is on the pricier side. I think it was something like $50 to $60. And what it does is it plugs into a USB-C that plugs into your battery port that inflates your sleeping bag. Now, it claims to do this in 2.5 minutes or less, and it definitely does not. It only weighs 0.2 ounces, so it's super duper lightweight and doesn't take up any space in your bag. However, as far as pumps go, I was kind of unimpressed with this thing. It took 20 minutes for it to inflate my Thermarest Neoloft. Granted, that is a beast of a pad, and I'm not quite sure it was really made for that, but it doesn't really function as advertised. And I do still use it because I can just set it and forget it. However, you really got to be careful that your nozzle is open correctly when you attach it to here, because if it twists for whatever reason, or it changes position a little bit, it won't inflate your pad because it doesn't have enough pressure to push through different styles of nozzle. So overall, I give this a 3 out of 10. It was a pretty disappointing piece of cottage gear, and it definitely doesn't meet the standards they claim it does. Next up is something called a flip fuel. Now, if you haven't seen my video on this already, I highly recommend you do. This is one of my favorite pieces of backpacking gear because it saves you money. In fact, I calculated the buyback period for this, and it's about 2 years if you're a regular backpacker that uses stove fuels. Or if you're a thru hiker, it's totally game changing. Now, what it lets you do is it lets you transfer gas from one can to another. So you don't have to buy the super expensive ultralight small cans that you go through more of them. You can buy big cans of gas and fill up smaller cans. If you're a thru hiker, you can pack one of these with you, and you can fill up cans in a hiker box to get a full can of gas and not pay anything for your fuel. So it is a really handy tool, and I've gotten a ton of use out of it, and I really do love it. I would give this thing an 8 out of 10. This might actually be my favorite piece of unhinged cottage gear that I've purchased. This is the hydration system by One Bottle Hydration, and it solves a lot of problems for me. Now, moving to smart water bottles saves you a lot of weight and hassle. It's a lot easier to use at camp too, so I highly recommend it, and I wish I would have made the switch sooner. Here's why I never did it. The way I hike uphill, according to my friends, should be studied by science. I actually pick up the pace. And a lot of the reason why I feel I can do this is because I can gently sip water as I go. I hate having to stop start. That momentum break just kills me and it really makes me dislike hiking. So I was thrilled to see that they make one of these. It simply screws onto a 28mm cap and the water tube can come all the way to the bottom. And then you just put it in your pack and link it up and go. I have replaced some of the parts it comes with on this with parts that I like. I have very minimal notes here. One of the best parts about it is that I can actually use this system with the gravity fed filter system and I can trim weight from my filter. So the fact that this does double duty is incredible for me. And it also came with one of these little nice sport caps, which is awesome. Super easy to use. My only complaint is it does seem to attract a lot of dirt. So you got to be really, really careful. This cap helps for the mouthpiece, but if you're taking it off the bottle, you got to be really careful about the bottom because you could end up with some dirty water. This bad boy gets a 9 out of 10 for me. So excited. It's time for the final piece of unhinged cottage backpacking gear, and that is the crotch pot. Now, I saw this thing and at 20 bucks, I just had to buy it. I got real weird and wild with this thing, and I'm not the kind of person who cold soaks their food, but this piece of gear alone convinced me that I could be. That, my friends, was a tall order. It really doesn't cost that much, and this thing weighs 0.6 ounces. I wouldn't say this is gonna make your foods piping hot, but it does warm it up quite a bit, and frankly, it's pretty comfortable to wear. I don't know if I would bring it on some of my more aggressive desert itineraries, simply because I think the crotch sweat combined with the back sweat from my bag would probably send me to another dimension. If you're interested in cold soaking, it's a really low cost way to try it. I found that the food actually tastes better if it's cold soaked in this. I don't know if it's because it's moving around, so it's getting a little tender too, but it was actually really, really good. I give this guy a 10 out of 10. It serves its purpose quite well and can be easily adapted to serve other functions. If you want to see me test this bad boy in a head-to-head test against my favorite backpacking stoves, then you're going to want to check out my next video where I gyrate for the camera for the sake of a good cup of noodles.